If you are listening to this right now, do not scroll past, do not click away, and do not tell yourself you will come back later. Because this moment was not created by an algorithm, and it was not assigned to you by chance. It was scheduled, it was authorized, and it was approved in the spiritual realm long before you ever touched your screen. And the reason you feel a pull to stay is because something concerning your life has just shifted. For months, maybe even years, you have carried a quiet question in your spirit, a question you rarely say out loud, a question that sounds like this: why does it feel like I am always under pressure, always being tested, always being delayed, even though I have tried to live right, pray right, and do the right thing? You have felt watched, evaluated, and restricted, as if invisible hands were constantly touching your finances, your peace, and your progress. And every time you tried to move forward, something drained you again. Something broke again. Something unexpected showed up again. And deep down, you wondered if heaven was silent, or if something unseen was working against you. Hear me clearly. Now heaven has not been silent, and you have not been forgotten. What you have been experiencing was not random resistance. It was a legal dispute, and today you are being notified because the case has reached a decision. This is why this video feels different. This is why your spirit is alert. This is why your heart is beating a little faster, because you were not drawn here for information, you were drawn here for notification. There are moments when God comforts, there are moments when God teaches, and then there are moments when God intervenes as a judge. And this is one of those moments. You have been faithful when it would have been easier to become bitter. You have stayed quiet when retaliation would have felt justified. You have continued to give, to pray, and to believe, even when the evidence suggested you were losing ground. And while it looked like nothing was changing, records were being kept, evidence was being gathered, and testimonies were being logged in your favor. That pressure, you felt that sense of being examined, was not to destroy you. It was to establish the case, and now the season of review is ending. What you are about to hear is not motivational language. It is legal language. It is the language of verdicts, rulings, and enforcement. And if you will stay with me, if you will listen with your spirit, instead of your fear, you will understand why the delays are about to reverse, why the losses are about to be addressed, and why the cycle you have been trapped in is about to break. This is not about hype, and it is not about fantasy. This is about divine justice being activated on your behalf. And the reason this message has found you at this exact moment is because what is coming next requires your awareness, your agreement, and your readiness to receive. So, take a breath, settle your heart, and listen closely, because the door you have been standing in front of is no longer locked. The case has been reviewed, and the court is now in session. For a long time, you tried to explain what you were going through. In natural terms, you told yourself it was just life, just stress, just bad timing, just the economy. But deep inside, you knew there was more to it than that, because the pattern was too consistent to be random. It wasn't just one setback, it was a sequence. Every time momentum started to build, something interrupted it. Every time peace settled in, something stirred conflict. Every time finances stabilized, an unexpected expense appeared. And what made it more painful was not just the loss itself, but the confusion around it, because you were doing your best to live, right, You were praying, you were believing, you were trying to be responsible, yet it felt like you were constantly being examined, monitored, and restricted, as if an invisible investigation was taking place around your life. You watched people who cut corners move ahead. You saw those who spoke lies prosper. You noticed systems reward the unqualified, while doors remained closed to you, and you asked yourself questions. You never thought you would have to ask questions like, did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Why does it feel like I am always the one paying the price? That question, that quiet frustration became a heavy weight you carried in your spirit, and over time, it started to affect the way you expected things to turn out, because disappointment has a way of training the mind to expect less, to hope smaller, to prepare for loss before it even happens. You didn't stop believing in God, but you did start bracing yourself. You learned how to survive instead of expect. You learned how to manage pressure instead of anticipate breakthrough. And that shift did not come from lack of faith. It came from repeated resistance. There were moments when you felt drained for no clear reason. Moments when your motivation dipped without warning. Moments when peace slipped away, even though nothing obvious had changed, and you couldn't point to a single cause because it wasn't one thing. It was an accumulation, a slow bleed, a steady withdrawal from areas of your life that mattered most. Financially, it showed up as money, leaving faster than it arrived as opportunities that almost materialized and then vanished as promises that were spoken but never honored. And emotionally, it showed up as exhaustion, as the feeling that you were always recovering but never fully restored. You told yourself to stay strong, to keep pushing, to keep smiling. But in the quiet moments when no one was watching, you wondered how long this season was going to last, and whether anyone was actually seeing the full picture. What you didn't realize is that the very things that made this season feel unfair were the things that were building the case every time you chose integrity over revenge, every time you stayed generous under pressure, every time you held your peace. When you could have lashed out, it was recorded not just emotionally, but legally in the spiritual realm. The enemy counted on you reacting. He counted on you agreeing with lack. He counted on you speaking defeat, because agreement is how access is maintained. And the reason the pressure felt so targeted is because this was not chaos. It was calculated not to destroy you quickly, but to wear you down slowly, to normalize loss, to make limitation feel permanent. But hear this clearly. Now the investigation you felt was not one-sided. You were not the only one being examined. The withdrawals, the delays, the blockages were being tracked, motives were being weighed, and authority was watching closely, because in the courts of heaven, nothing goes undocumented, and no injustice goes unnoticed forever. What felt like silence was actually deliberation. What felt like delay was review, and what felt like abandonment was protection. Because if the verdict had come too early, you would not have been ready to carry what was coming next. This part of the journey was not meant to break you. It was meant to expose what was operating behind the scenes. And now that exposure has reached its limit, the pressure you endured is about to make sense. Because seasons like this only exist for one reason: to gather evidence before a ruling is made. And the reason this message is resonating so deeply is because your spirit recognizes the truth. The season of investigation is ending, And what comes after investigation is not more questions. It is a verdict. Now listen carefully, because this is where everything begins to turn. This is the moment most people never realize has already happened while you were focused on surviving the pressure. Something shifted in a realm. You could not see. The evidence that had been quietly accumulating reached its threshold. And when that threshold is crossed, review turns into action. There is a point in every legal process where deliberation ends and a decision is made. And what you need to understand is that this point has already been reached concerning your life. Heaven does not rush judgments, but it also does not delay them without reason. And the reason this season lasted as long as it did was because the outcome was meant to be irreversible. What felt like endless delay was actually precision. Every moment of restraint, every act of obedience under pressure, every time you chose faith over frustration added weight to the scales, and eventually the balance tipped. This is why you may have felt a strange calm. Recently, even before, circumstances changed, a quiet sense that something was different, even though nothing on the surface looked new. That was not imagination. That was the moment the case moved from review to ruling. In the courts of heaven, decisions are not emotional, they are legal. And once a verdict is issued, it does not need to be announced immediately to be effective. It simply needs to be enforced. That enforcement is what you are standing on the edge of right now. The enemy thrives on delay because delay creates doubt, and doubt creates silence. But silence is broken the moment authority speaks, and authority has spoken. The reason resistance is about to lose its grip is because its legal cover has expired. What once had permission now has none. And anything operating without permission is subject to removal. This is the divine shift. You could not see, but are about to feel the moment when spiritual leverage changes hands. For a long time, it felt like forces outside of your control were dictating outcomes, like systems were rigged and doors were decided before you ever showed up. But when heaven intervenes, systems adjust, doors realign, and outcomes reverse without explanation. Not because people suddenly become fair, but because authority overrides access. You are not entering a season of luck. You are entering a season of enforcement where things begin to move, not because you are striving harder, but because resistance is being removed. This is why striving is about to feel unnecessary, why pushing is about to feel excessive, because what is coming is not unlocked by effort, it is released by verdict. And here is where many people misunderstand. This moment, they think the shift means instant manifestation in every visible area, but real shifts happen first in the unseen. Momentum changes direction before results change appearance, and once momentum turns, outcomes become inevitable. That is where you are right now. Inevitability has been activated. The delays that once drained you no longer have the authority to repeat. The cycles that kept restarting are being interrupted at the root, and the reason this feels heavy in your spirit is because authority carries weight. When a ruling is issued, it presses down on everything that has been out of alignment, forcing it to adjust or collapse. And that pressure you may feel now is not resistance increasing, it is resistance being crushed. This is why the narrative around your life is about to change without you defending yourself. Why explanations will no longer be required. Why things that once needed constant justification will simply fall into place because when authority moves, it does not debate. You may notice people treating you differently, opportunities approaching you instead of you chasing them, conversations opening that were previously blocked, and none of it will feel forced. It will feel inevitable because the ruling did not come to inspire you. It came to reposition you. This is the moment where heaven backs your obedience with action, where faith is no longer just counted, it is rewarded, and what you endured quietly becomes the reason you advance publicly. Do not mistake this shift for emotional relief alone. It is structural, it is systemic, it is legal, and once it begins, it does not reverse. The season of being evaluated is ending, and the season of being enforced is beginning. And the reason you are hearing this now is because awareness is required before execution, agreement is required before release, and readiness is required before restoration. Stay with me, because what comes next is not theory. It is the mechanism, the explanation of how this ruling moves from the unseen into your visible life. And once you understand that, you will realize why nothing you went through was wasted, why nothing was missed, and why what is coming cannot be stopped. This is where clarity replaces confusion, because now you are going to understand the mechanism behind what is happening, not in emotional terms, but in legal and spiritual terms. And once you understand the mechanism, fear loses its power, because fear thrives in uncertainty, but authority thrives in understanding. In the natural world, when a judge issues a warrant, it is not a suggestion, and it is not a negotiation. It is a legal authorization that activates enforcement. And enforcement does not depend on the feelings of the accused. It depends on the authority of the one who signed it. In the same way, a divine ruling does not wait for the enemy's permission. It overrides it. And what has been released over your life is not a blessing request. It is a restitution order. For a long time, the enemy operated like a squatter, occupying territory that did not belong to him, draining resources that were assigned to you, delaying outcomes that were already approved. And he could do this only as long as there was legal access, because the enemy is not creative. He is legalistic. He looks for technicalities, agreements, and open doors, and then he exploits them until authority intervenes. But what you need to hear now is this: authority has intervened. The reason this intervention is different from past breakthroughs is because this one is not based on mercy alone. It is based on justice. And justice does not just stop harm, it demands repayment. This is why this season is not about things barely improving. It is about things being recovered. Restitution is not the same as provision. Provision gives you enough to move forward. Restitution gives you back what was taken, plus compensation for the delay. And that distinction matters because it explains why what is coming will feel disproportionate to what you lost. The losses you experienced were not isolated events. They were documented withdrawals, and documentation triggers accountability. Every unexpected expense, every opportunity that vanished at the last moment, every promise that was spoken and then withheld, every season where effort did not match outcome, those were not random frustrations. They were charges applied to your account without authorization, and unauthorized charges must be reversed when discovered. This is why exposure is such a critical part of this moment, because nothing can be recovered until it is identified. And what the Holy Spirit has done is shine light on what was hidden, revealing patterns that could no longer be dismissed as coincidence. Once exposure happens, recovery becomes a matter of process, not possibility. This is where the law of sevenfold restoration comes into play, because it establishes the scale of repayment, not just the fact of it. Sevenfold does not mean symbolic generosity. It means complete restoration, multiplied by divine interest. It means the return includes what you lost, what it cost you to endure the loss, and what the loss prevented you from producing during that time. That is why this is not just about money returning. It is about momentum, returning confidence, returning peace, returning and capacity returning all at once. Now, understand, this enforcement does not always look dramatic. At first, it often looks subtle because pressure is applied in places you cannot see before it shows up in places you can. Decisions begin shifting. Timing begins adjusting. People begin thinking differently without knowing why, and environments that once resisted you begin accommodating you. This is not coincidence, it is compulsion, and compulsion is a byproduct of authority. When authority presses down, resistance releases. This is why you may soon notice favor coming from unexpected directions, approvals that should have taken longer coming quickly, conversations opening without effort, and resources being made available without explanation. And while your mind may try to analyze it, your spirit will recognize it because it carries a different weight. This is not you striving harder. This is resistance being removed. This is also why you are being cautioned now about alignment, because restitution requires a receiver who is positioned correctly. If funds are released but the vessel is misaligned, the flow becomes blocked, not because the order was revoked, but because reception requires agreement. This is why your words matter in this season, because words function as signatures, and signatures authorize delivery. When you speak lack, you contradict the verdict. When you speak fear, you dispute the ruling. But when you speak alignment, you authorize the transfer. This is not positive thinking. This is legal cooperation. The reason you are being told to stop saying you never get a break, to stop declaring you cannot afford it, to stop rehearsing loss before it happens, is because those statements are outdated in this season. They belong to a previous case, and that case is now closed. You are stepping into a different jurisdiction, one where provision follows purpose and resources follow assignment. This is also why restitution often arrives in unconventional forms, because it is not limited to one channel. It may come through career, acceleration, debt, cancellation, unexpected partnerships, strategic connections, or opportunities that multiply quickly, and the common denominator will be speed. What once took years will take months. What once stalled will move smoothly, and what once drained you will now sustain you. This is not because circumstances suddenly became friendly. It is because authority changed hands. Understand this deeply. Enforcement does not require your anxiety. It requires your cooperation. Anxiety tries to manage outcomes. Cooperation trusts the process. You are not being asked to fight in this season. You are being asked to receive, to steward, and to stay aligned. The battle that exhausted you is not yours. To continue, it has been escalated to a level where enforcement replaces effort. And when enforcement is active, striving only creates friction. This is why rest is going to become more productive than stress clarity, more effective than urgency and obedience, more powerful than overexertion. What is happening now is not about proving anything. It is about positioning yourself not to collect what has already been approved. Stay with me, because next you need to understand how time itself is being addressed in this ruling, why delays are being compressed, and why acceleration is not a reward for the future, but a compensation for the past. Now this is where hope turns into certainty, because what is being addressed next is not just what was taken from you, but the time it took from your life. And for many listening right now, this is the deepest wound of all. Not the money, not the missed opportunities, but the years that feel like they slipped through your fingers while you were waiting, believing, and enduring. You look back and think about how much further you could be if things had moved when they were supposed to, if doors had opened when you were ready, if resistance had not slowed every step. And the enemy has used that reflection to whisper one of his most dangerous lies, the lie that says you are late, that you missed your window, that your best years are behind you, and now you should just settle for survival. Hear me clearly, that lie is being revoked. The ruling that has been issued does not only include restitution of resources, it includes restitution of time. And time, restitution is different from anything you have experienced before, because it does not give you the years back one by one. It compresses results, it accelerates outcomes, and it restores momentum in a way that defies normal timelines. Scripture says God restores the years the locust has eaten, not just the harvest, not just the fruit, but the years themselves, which means He does not simply repair damage, He redeems duration. This is why what is coming will feel fast, why progress will feel sudden, and why breakthroughs will stack instead of spacing out, because acceleration is not random, it is compensation. What the enemy delayed for 6 years, God can resolve in 6 months. What was stalled for decades can be unlocked in a single season. And this is especially for those of you who feel overlooked by time, those in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, who assumed the window had closed. But the truth is, heaven does not operate on your clock. It operates on assignment. And when assignment is still active, time is still adjustable. The cycle of almost that followed you, where things nearly worked, and then collapsed where you were close, and then cut off where momentum built, and then vanished. That cycle is being broken at the root, not managed, not slowed, but destroyed, because it was never meant to define you. It was meant to expose interference. From this point forward, you are entering a different rhythm, one where effort produces fruit, where faith produces evidence, and where consistency produces overflow instead of exhaustion. But listen carefully, because this is where participation matters. Acceleration requires agreement, and agreement is expressed through declaration. This is not the season to stay silent. This is the season to speak in alignment with the ruling, to expect differently, to plan differently, to respond differently when opportunity shows up. Even if your past experience tells you to brace for disappointment, the verdict has already been issued, but manifestation follows agreement. And this is why I want you to engage right now. Not later, not quietly, but intentionally. If this message is confirming what you have been feeling in your spirit, if you know deep down that something is shifting and this season of delay is ending, I want you to type one word in the comments right now. Type the word receive, because when you declare it publicly, you are aligning your voice with the verdict. And if you are believing not just for money, but for time restoration, for accelerated progress, for lost years to be redeemed, Type "time restored" in the comments. Let it be a marker. Let it be a point of agreement. Do not underestimate the power of declaration, because every transfer requires a signature, and your words are how you sign for what has been released. Stay expectant this week, stay alert, stay open. Because acceleration often arrives, disguised as opportunity, and favor often knocks quietly before it manifests loudly. You are not late, you are not behind, and you are not disqualified. The ruling accounted for every delay, and what is coming next is not just restoration, it is redemption in motion.